What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2001 Lexus LS430. Up front is a 4.3 liter V8, and down below is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this LS430 because, as the title, thumbnail, and description might suggest, this vehicle has 632,000 miles on it. And so this is going to be an incredibly interesting case study of why this car has aged the way it has, how it was able to achieve that mileage, and just why the LS430 might be one of the best cars ever made. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And huge thank you to the Car Care Nut for letting me take out their 600,000 mile Lexus LS430. If you would like to see the complete breakdown and build of this car on YouTube, head on over to the Car Care Nut channel. They've documented their whole process of restoring this car, what was wrong with it, what has changed over 600,000 miles, and so I highly recommend checking that out. But let's get back to that 4.3 liter V8. Well, this is a healthy upgrade over the outgoing LS400 that came in the early 90s. This, of course, is the 3UZ, where the older engine is the 1UZ, and it got a bump in displacement just a little bit from 4 liter to 4.3. Not only is it a very reliable engine, but it's a really smooth engine. I feel like a lot of Americans, we associate the V8 with loud, straight pipes and drag racing and muscle cars. It's not the case here in the LS430. You're not going to be winning any drag races anytime soon, but you are going to have a smooth and relaxing driving experience because of that engine. There's just more cylinders that could help out with the cause. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. These never came with manual, and it should be noted that the drivetrain is original to this vehicle, so it does have the original 632,000 mile transmission and engine in the vehicle, although some gaskets have been swapped out and refreshed. Last but not least about the drivetrain, of course, the LS430 is rear-wheel drive, which is fantastic to see. How does it feel to drive a 600,000 mile LS430? Just as good as a low mileage one. I've driven an LS430 under 100,000 miles, and I can't believe I'm saying they drive identical. That's the beauty of this car, is that it doesn't change. It's smooth, it glides over bumps, the cabin is quiet. I know I naturally talk really loud, but I can talk at a normal talking voice, and you could still hear me pretty clearly, which is a nice thing and not a sure thing about 2000s vehicles, but it was for the LS430. Visibility is good. Steering isn't too heavy or too light. It's right there in the middle, and I love to see it. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is my coolant temperature and tachometer, and off to the right is my speedometer and fuel. On the steering wheel, we do get mode and skip track, and off to the right, we get our display buttons as well as reset and cruise control. Higher end LS430s would get radar cruise in this era, but this one doesn't have it. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, power mirrors, power folding mirrors, a little cubby, and our parking brake. And moving out of the door, we have 3 levels of memory seats, seatbelt adjuster, lock and unlock, and power windows. This is really one of the only spots in the car where you will see its age shown because the window switches are so worn down and the labels are nearly gone. Moving into the center, we do get a little readout for the temperature inside and out for the dual zone climate, and then we have a touchscreen infotainment center in the middle. Now, I don't love that the fan speed is ran through this screen, but everything else has physical buttons. It's fine for the era. It was actually quite cutting edge for the era, and it works well here today. But I do like that I get the physical buttons on the outside for audio, climate, menu, destination, map, things like that. Down below, we do have climate control vents that oscillate. So they actually move back and forth to help distribute the air around the vehicle, which is something that we just don't see much of anymore. So definitely cool to see that. Down below, we do have the cassette player and radio, volume, tune, things like that, as well as a 6-disc CD changer down below. We have our power and snow modes for the transmission, a little cubby, traction control off, and then heated and ventilated seats. So the LS430 gets both heated and ventilation, which is glorious. Moving on to the shifter, off to the left we have the jigsaw style shifter from Toyota/Lexus. They use this in so many products over the years, nothing too crazy there. And off to the right we have an openable cubby for the 12-volt outlet. Then we do have pop-out cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test. However, the factory arms have broken over the last 600,000 miles, so they've been replaced by rubber bands, and it actually passes! The LS430 passes. What can't this car do? The stock one with working arms also passes the big friggin' bottle test, so it would have passed either way. I just want to point out that those arms were not stock. Then we get a center console and the seats. The seats are leather, heated, memory, power, and ventilated. Said that all in the wrong order, but it's true. Incredibly comfortable, and that is really, really nice to see. It helps out with that comfortable ride of the LS430. This really is one of the best luxury cars you could get for a decent price, and the seats help out with that. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2001 600,000 mile Lexus LS430, and not a whole lot to really show its age. There's a little bit of scuffing here and there and just things in the plastic, but think of how many people have gotten in and out of the back seat in the last 600,000 miles. Probably a ton, and so it's not like a New York City cab back here. It's not like an airport shuttle where there's stuff hanging and you're sitting there just praying that you get to LaGuardia on time. No, it's actually still a nice luxurious area to be. We have pull down cup holders and rear heated seats back here. Those buttons found in the center console. Like I said, climate control vents, and I have buttons on this chair right here to actually move it forward and back. So if I want to sit over there, I can enjoy myself and get some extra leg room. However, speaking of room, let's talk about the cargo space around the back. Right around the back of the LS430, little button here on the key fob, pop it like that and pull it up the rest of the way. Here is the trunk space of the LS430. Again, nothing really showing its age back here, which is great. Nothing to worry about. It's a big trunk. I miss when cars had big trunks like this, but that's it. It's so simple. It's actually almost like unimpressive how many miles it has, although it is impressive, but it's just crazy. I don't know. Anyway, that's the trunk. There you go. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I love the white color of this LS430. I'm not sure if I've driven a 430 in this color, although I have done a 400 in this color, and I like it a lot. Something Toyota and Lexus have always done really well is the subtlety of their luxury cars. They've never really bragged about it, even when you get up into the Lexus products. Something I also liked about the LC500 I had this year was that copper color and how loud it was, because it was so outside of Lexus's playbook to do something like that. Well, I like the opposite of that here. I like the subtlety. I like the fact that it kind of takes people a second or two to register, oh, that's actually not a Camry. That's not a big Avalon. It's something unique and different and something more luxurious. So I like that feeling about it. I also think this is the last generation of like really pretty LSs when they moved on to the LS like 600s. Those got a little bit uglier in my opinion, but that's just my own taste. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 600,000 mile LS430, now the highest mileage vehicle ever reviewed on the Shooting Cars channel? Well, I've definitely enjoyed my time with it, of course. But how does a car get this way? How does a car last this long? I think there's two schools of thought here. First of all, the ownership. A lot of a car's life has to do with the ownership. If this was owned by a kid who put bazooka pipes on it, slammed it to the ground, there's no chance it would have made it to 600,000 miles, let alone out of the Kroger parking lot. So these vehicles were higher priced in the era, and so they were bought by more wealthy people that tend to take care of the things that they spent the money on. These cars also had a slightly older following, and so you didn't really find 35-year-olds trying to stick in their 20s and buying these cars and hot rodding them. So I do think that the owners that had these vehicles do play a pretty big role. But the other big role, kind of the more important one, is that Toyota Lexus really genuinely over-engineered this car. Ahmed, the car care nut who took apart this car and refurbished it, he said that every time he found something that needed one bolt, It had two. Every single thing was thought through. Everything is double, triple, quadruple checked. And the LS430 doesn't lean on any special gadgets to deliver the luxurious experience. It doesn't have floating hubcaps that always keep the Lexus logo straight up and down. It doesn't have a hood ornament that pops out and goes back home. It doesn't have screens everywhere. It doesn't have super technologically advanced air suspension like the Mercedes of the era had, but notoriously fail consistently. You don't have things like that. And so it's a fine line that Lexus rode of luxury, but also pure necessity. If it wasn't going to help out the vehicle, it wasn't in here. And truly, we just don't get cars like that anymore. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I don't want to sound like, oh, you know, cars these days are terrible. Everything is garbage. Everything is awful. I hate my life and wife. No, because there are people like that on the internet and they really, really bother me. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that in this era, they were double checking it. They had a reputation to uphold. Lexus was still a relatively new company. At the time of the making of this car, they were only about 10 years old, or 10 years into selling vehicles here in the States. They couldn't throw that whole decade away with shoddy craftsmanship, and so they didn't give it shoddy craftsmanship. And that is what has helped enable this car to go 600,000 miles. And if the owner has anything to do with it, it's gonna go for quite more than that. So here it is. A 600,000 mile vehicle that is still running, operating, and living just as it did 23 years and 600,000 miles ago. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Ahmed from the Car Care Nut for letting me take out his 600,000 mile Lexus LS430. Ahmed has been absolutely wonderful to work with. We are friends. He's helped me on so many videos besides this. He's really genuinely a great guy, and he has a great channel as well, so please go check out the Car Care Nut. If you have any interest in Toyota or Lexus, he is the spot to go to without a doubt. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.